Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Tanner Dajne, the Mind Hacker, and I help gamers defeat their depression, addictions, and create a better life for themselves. And I'm also very grateful to have Nathan Francis here on the line. He's a longtime friend, a really good, just an overall great friend of mine. He's an amazing coach. He works with the youth primarily, and we've done many podcasts together. And every time, I'm just so grateful to have him on. I just love to hear his side of the things. And tonight we have something very special for you guys. We're gonna be talking about how the identities and the labels we put on ourselves, or society puts on ourselves, affects us. And me and Nathan were just talking about this beforehand, and we definitely got some good things to talk about today, some good stories. So thank you so much for coming on, Nathan.
No worries, Tanner. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to jump onto your podcast or merge ours together.
Mhm.
We have said we should do it more often. We have been doing it once a month, so now it's really, really good. And it's always interesting that when we do jump on and we have these chats, it's always to do with something going on in our personal lives. And today it's both of us, which is interesting. So I'm looking forward to delving into the identity and the box we put ourselves in. So now it'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting chat. I hope you're going well. It's been a while, but things are definitely happening up here on the sunny coast in Queensland. The weather's not great today, a bit humid, but here I am. It's all good.
Yeah, I love the
It's good to
humidity,
be
man.
here.
So it's
Same
a
here.
it's a good thing.
It is. All
Keep,
you do is sweat, and I love sweating because it's detoxing, and yeah, I love it. It's good.
keeps you nice and moist.
That's it, mate. That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, it's
okay.
always good.
Yeah, I mean, because I was from Colorado, and in Colorado was like we're like mile high, like a mile high up in the air, and it was very dry air out there, and so I get chapped lips all the time and like nosebleeds. So when I moved
Oh,
down
no.
to the coast, a lot more humidity. All those things are gone, and I can breathe so much better. So I love the humidity. I'm all about it.
It's interesting because where I live is on the coast and it's
Uh-huh.
humid, so it's good. Yeah, it's good.
Yep.
The ocean's always a bit warmer than usual this time of year, but it's fun. It's been a really awesome experience the last few months being up here. It's looking forward to showing you this place, Tanner. It's an awesome part of the country known as Australia, Sunshine Coast in
Yep.
Queensland.
Yeah, super excited to come visit there.
It's like every
So
day's a holiday, Tanner.
yeah, well, I mean, I always make a joke I should have moved farther south sometimes because it's
Yeah.
like right now it's not like cold out, but it's starting to get a little more chilly. It's not probably gonna snow down here, but I'd be happy with just sunshine year round, warm weather year round. Living on a beach someplace. So
See you. I'll see you down. I'll see you down under real soon then.
yeah, either there
Ah,
or Puerto
we should.
Rico.
For those that are in Australia and do live here on the Sunshine Coast, it's like all the awesome places like Noosa and that are only 40, 30 minutes away. It's like they're holiday destinations, right? If you look into Australia, like Noosa's a pretty holiday destination. That's only half an hour up the road. So if I go up there for a day trip, which isn't even a day trip, that's like a holiday, mate. Like I don't even need a holiday because I'm already living a holiday. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Pretty
that's
cool.
amazing, man.
But
I
then if
love
you
that.
look at the power of words, holy day, well,
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on from that.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast.
Mm. It's been interesting, Tanner. Our 12-month anniversary came up the other day of us doing this. It's
Oh, really?
been a very remember, I think it was only like a month ago I tagged you in it. That's gone quick.
It feels like it's been longer than that, though. Like, I don't know. I feel like I've known you for much longer than just
Well,
12
it might
months.
be a
So,
might be a past life connection there, Tanner.
yeah, sure.
We go woo woo, but we're not here to talk about woo woo stuff. We're here to talk about labels. So let's delve into it.
Perfect. So, do you want to start with just like sharing the story with Sophie?
I can, yeah. So for those that, well, literally Sunday just gone, but when this goes up, it might be a couple of Sundays anyway, weekend just gone. I was sitting out in the balcony and yeah, it was an interesting question that I got asked Sunday night. It was Sunday morning. It was, who are you, Nathan? Like who are you really? And I sort of went, oh, coach, podcast host, brother, son, sort of went those sort of labels. She's like, go deeper. I'm like, this is a bit uncomfortable. Hadn't been uncomfortable like that for a while. So I was like, all right, well, I'm a leader. I'm here to implement change and here to build some pretty awesome stuff for humanity and to help heal humanity. She's like, go deeper. I'm like, yeah, a bit stuck. Anyway, we did our stuff for the day and we all circled back, had our chat over after dinner. And sorry if you asked that question again. I was just coming out of brushing my teeth and she's like, oh, who are you, Nathan? I was like, oh, I'm worthy of love. I'm got this. I'm worthy of having an awesome coaching business. I'm just. And she goes, no, go back, go and start again. So I was all right. I went back, brushed my teeth, and came back out again. And went, all right. I'm Nathan Francis. I'm a leader. I'm a healer. I'm a leader. And she goes, no, start again. So this is like 4 or 5 times. And I came back and I went, I'm grounded. I'm worthy of love. I'm calm. I'm funny at times, can be serious. I look after myself. I'm very grateful and very humble. And she's like, and then I said, I am worthy of love and abundance. And she's like, tick, good job. I was like, finally. It's like, that's a really, just to generalize, that's a really uncomfortable question for people. It's like, well, who are you beyond whatever you are? Like if you're a teacher or a singer or a dancer or a plumber or something, it's like, well, what are you beyond that? What are you beyond father or leader or, what's go deeper and who are you? It's a really interesting question to ponder, especially if you're our way inclined to start this journey. Very interesting just to ponder that, journal that, sit with that, be like, who are you? Made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's definitely a good question. I feel like not many people think about it, and if they do, they don't really know where to start, right? They do probably go towards like, oh, I'm 6'2", I'm brown hair, I have brown eyes, I do this for my job, I do this, but like those aren't like those things can change, right? Like what happens when you get older and you get a little shorter, or your hair changes colors, or like something like that. Like things can change, and that's not really who you are at the end of the day. And then if you want to go more spiritual, I guess, like are we actually our bodies, right? Or are we more our consciousness? So like it's could be even further than that, to the fact that like none of this is just like an experience we're having. It's not who we are. Like we could be a teacher one day if we wanted. We could go be a coach the next day. We can go be um, you know, someone who's changing tires the next day. We can be anything we want. So at the end of the day, who really are you? Like, what's your core values? What are the things that you like, that you stand for? I think is really important too. Like, what are the things that you will stand for and fight for as well? You know.
Yeah,
So
it's working out also the core values of who you see in those around you too. If you surround yourself, it's like, well, what do you stand for? What do you want in terms of a friendship, relationship, those sort of things too? You're not going to have a friend that's that's going to not be kind or loyal or misloyal. It's like, well, once you delve into what you want and who you are, then you start attracting those things into your life.
yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, and these labels that we put on ourselves,
oh yeah,
can be really harmful. It's not like and I'm not gonna go into specifics here, but like multiple people I've been talking to recently have been possibly put like a label on them. And these labels, like, oh, you have anxiety, or you have depression, or you have cancer, or even just saying you are this because you do this, or I'm a smoker, is a common one. And smokers try to quit smoking, but they identify themselves as a smoker, and that is going to be something that's going to be pretty hard to break when you identify that way, right? Instead it's just something you do.
How powerful your words are. You're saying I am a smoker.
Yep.
Well, I'm not. Oh, I'm not saying that, but it's like people say that. Yeah, you're right. Well said.
Yeah, exactly. So that can literally keep you trapped, and like I think that's really what our society is built around, is these labels, right? Especially our like big pharma, and like the health industry. just slap a label on someone and then give them drugs, give them some kind of prescriptions to address those. And I think that's extremely harmful um, to everyone involved, right? It's harmful to the people who are doing it because it's lowering their vibration. It's harmful to the people who get the labels put on them, and it can keep people trapped inside of that for a very long period of time, and it can actually stop their progress from moving forward unless they break free from that label. And I think that is something important to address, that we can always break these labels, right? We're never stuck with these labels unless we allow ourselves to be stuck with them, right?
100%, mate. And I did a post only last week about, how doctors and stuff won't heal you. It's the same thing. People are so attached to those belief systems and that system that they truly believe that system's here to save me. Well, given the hard truths of the world, it's not here to save you. It's here to let's going to be honest with you all. It's here to kill you slowly. So, and it's really, I'm trying to find the words here. It's hard for people to grasp that they can heal themselves because they're so, yeah, you're right with the labels. It's like, well, they define themselves as the thing that they have or the thing that they are. It keeps you confined, as I said to you off air, that this system keeps you confined to a box. Mm-hmm. And you're one thing, and you have all these things that are wrong with you, and you're just confined, and that's who you are. That's what that school system teaches you, or will brainwashes you to be, to program you to believe that you're this one thing, you live in this box here, and that's all you are. And you're defined by the issues that you have with yourself and your addictions and stuff. Well, your body is powerful, and if you tell it something else, it will direct you that way, and you can self-heal. You got to go within to learn the truth that exists within the world and exists within you, and it's following your heart, and your body can heal. But if you believe that it doesn't, then it won't. But if you believe it does, then your body will. That's the power of the mind. And the school system programs you to be one thing, stuck in a box. Well, I'm here to say you're not one thing. You're not stuck in a box. You're a human being and a soul having a human experience, and you can do and be multiple things. And yes, you can self-heal. Yep. That's how quickly you can change those labels and then break free. And then deal with the emotions involved. Start working on yourself, start cleaning up your diet, start going to the gym, start doing these things, and your body will start to feel a little bit better. And who knows, it may even self-heal. Our bodies are powerful. We're energy, Tanner.
Oh, yeah.
And we're not the anxiety. We're not the depression. We're not the ADHD. We're not the autism. We're not all this stuff. We're not any of those things. We're just souls having a human experience. We're here to learn things, feel things, and just be. We don't need to be confined. We're sovereign and we're free. It's pretty powerful once you remember that, Tanner.
Yeah.
Did that make sense?
Yeah, that was beautifully said. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that. And, the school system definitely does lead us down that path. I mean, I just think about like all the kids who get labeled with ADHD, right? Because they don't want to be at school. They would rather be doing something else, but since they can't focus and be like, oh, you can't focus on this subject that we're forcing you to learn, so you have ADHD, right?
Labeled straight away.
Yeah, right there. That's harming the kids. That's harming our children, and yet, unfortunately, many parents think it's normal.
That kid grows, and then that kid grows up believing he has this thing wrong with him, and then that defines him or her.
Yep.
It doesn't define them.
Exactly. And then not to mention the Ritalin or whatever that's prescribed too, causing more problems.
On that.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on that stuff.
So yeah, I mean, like it is really all around us. Like it's really everywhere. You get labeled, oh, you're the jock. Oh, you're the joker of the class, right? Like I know you and me have talked about how you and me were both jokers, right? Trying to make other people laugh, the people pleasers. And that's another label that can be harmful, because once you start to try to break free from, oh, I'm the Joker, people don't take you as seriously anymore, right? Like it can be a hard thing to break, especially if you have that mindset of this is who I am. But getting back into your body, getting back, out of those, of like other people's opinions, and really just searching inside your soul and saying, really, who am I? Like, just like Sophie was asking, deeper, go deeper. Is that really who you are? What happens if those things were gone? Would you still be you? Yeah. So that's
I
not,
just figured.
that's
I
not
actually
me,
just
right?
figured it out. I've just got goosebumps. I'm a sovereign. I'm a sovereign. I'm a soul. It's a sovereign being having a human experience. So I'm here to learn things and feel things, and I'm worthy of everything that has been set out for me on my blueprint. There you go. I just figured out who I was, Tanner. I'm a soul having a human experience.
I love it.
Sophie, if you're watching, are you proud? Please be proud. I figured it out, Tanner. There we go. We'll
Nope.
raise a glass to that.
That's awesome, man. That's actually a really good answer. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a soul having a human experience. I'm sovereign, and I'm here to experience and feeling everything in abundance. And yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna video record that and send it to her in a minute. Yeah.
but
Anyway.
so how has some of the labels affected you in your life? Like, I know for me, it's they've definitely affected me, for myself, like my own label I put on myself for smoking marijuana. I always considered myself a smoker, and I told myself, I remember telling myself this, oh, I'm going to be smoking till I'm like, until I'm old and I die. I'm always going to be smoking is what I really told myself.
Wow.
And for me, quitting smoking marijuana has been the hardest thing for me to stop doing, probably because I had that identity built within my
Yep.
mind, and I reinforced it with all these talks with my friends and things like that, which made it even more of like a reinforced identity. So that's interesting.
How did you go letting that go, Tanner? Letting that identity of and that former version of you go.
It
We can go
took,
deep if you want. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it took a couple tries. I found myself going back to the marijuana a couple different times. I think what really helped me at the end was one, or actually a couple of things. One, just like experiencing just every single time I went back, just actually what it's doing to me,
Yeah.
mentally, physically, spiritually, and getting that experience. And then two, going like inwards into my mind and addressing that part of me when I had made that identity, and just saying, like, that's not me. I am Tanner. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm, someone who is a leader, and I am a non-smoker. I pretty much told myself that, this is not me anymore. This is who I am. And went back and addressed that person, who had created that. Well, really, it's a teenager, right? When I was a teenager, and I had told myself that, I think I was like 14 years old. And so I went back and told myself that, um, I think actually that's what I did of my very last time before I stopped smoking. And I remember trying to stop smoking for the longest time before I even learned like any of this information or going down this path. Always really, really high at night, telling myself I'm going to stop smoking tomorrow, and then waking up in the morning and convincing myself to smoke again. Which was interesting. Like, part of me wanted to stop, but part of me did not want
Mm.
to. There's that internal struggle, right? And when I
Mm.
look back on it, it definitely was that identity piece pulling me back in, and just also just society in general, and all my friends around me, like my environment. My dad smoked, my brother, pretty much all my friends smoked, like everyone around me smoked. So it was definitely a harder thing for me to break, than like alcohol. I quit very quickly, and I've been 5 years alcohol free, and that was no problem for me, because I remember the first time I tried alcohol, I was like, this is disgusting. So
I
I'm
was the
not sure.
same.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
interesting how that works, but yeah, that's really what helped me was, you know addressing that teenage part of me, and then just changing my identity, doing like an identity shift.
Very powerful, Tanner.
Yeah.
I know for
What?
me, well, for me, I was. always wanting to be a teacher, to be that one thing. And I always wanted to be a teacher. It's just something I always wanted to be. But I also wanted to be a writer, and I also wanted to do all these other things as well. But then it got to a point where, well, what do you want to be? And it's like, well, you pick one thing. So I picked that. And then I didn't pick writing because of what went on in what went on in my childhood, which I've shared in our last podcast. But yeah, and I wanted to be a whole range of things, Tanner. But then I was limited to just a teacher. What else did I have labeled on myself? Sort of like, well, where I was from, the label that was given to me was the player or the fuckboy. That was a sort of label that I had for 7 years from the old town that I was from. So I was known as the fuckboy player, party boy, you know, like the drinking and a good time. That was sort of like my label. And then I sort of turned my back on that, and it upset the group of friends that I was with. It upset a lot of people, but that wasn't me anymore. And I was ready to change and be someone else, my true self, because what I was not being my true self. I was running away from my true self. This right now is my true self. This is me expressing myself truthfully and authentically. And it's beautiful, mate. Because yeah, when you turn your back on that old life that you had, it's going to be fucking hard. Because for me, that old version of Nate comes up all the time. And sometimes I'm worried to be that guy. Well, I'm worried that guy's going to come out again. So it's like, well, when I talk to women that are friends of mine, or when I meet someone, it's like, well, if I want to pursue that woman, I'm worried and scared that the label fuckboy Nate's gonna come back and hurt her. It's like, well, I'm not that guy anymore. And I do this priming meditation every Saturday morning, just in my room or down the beach. It's fire breathing. Have you heard of fire breathing, Tanner?
It's where you like create heat with your breath.
Yeah, just pretty much through your nose, and it's really, really powerful. And I do 10 or 20 cycles. Well, yeah, 10 or 20 cycles, and I sit there with the emotions that have come up. And the last few weeks, I've been really shedding that for once and for all, that old label, the old identity that I used to have. Because when I'd be in conversations with people, and this is another thing Sophie made me aware of Sunday night, it's like I'd always talk about that old version of me. It's like, I'm not that guy anymore. That guy's in Bendigo, back in Victoria, back down south. I'm a new version of myself here. I don't need to talk about that old guy anymore. He served me a great purpose. He's allowed me to speak truthfully and authentically now, but I need to keep bringing it up for that to block whatever opportunities are coming my way. Really powerful, mate, because that old label that I had on myself, that my old town deemed me as, I lived that. And I didn't really know how to change that until I discovered the truths of the world first, and then the truths that existed within me. And it's like, well, hang on a minute. I'm so much more than a fuckboy and a player. I'm so much more than a teacher. I'm so much more than these things. I can do and be multiple things, and that really helped me. But then going back to those old versions of myself and forgiving them and showing them and loving them and just being like, thank you. Like that photo that I posted is my first photo on my Instagram that people will see. That drunk photo of me that's pinned as my first photo. I've gone back to that guy a few times and said, hey, mate, I'm going to show you another way. You're not that sexualized. You're not that drunk, high, party boy, fuck boy anymore. You're about to be a leader. We're going to write you a new story. Thank you for the time and the lessons that you showed me during that time of my life. I can step out into the world now and be who I'm supposed to be. And if someone's listening and resonating with that, awesome. Because for me to sit with myself and then allow that old version of me in from that photo, powerful, man. Because I'm not defined by him anymore. Yes, he's a part of me, but he doesn't define me, and he's not who I really am. That was just who society and my programming at that time deemed me as. Now I'm stepping into something else. I'm stepping into my sovereignty, and I'm stepping into my heart space. And look out, because I'm here to do some pretty cool shit in the next 80 years. So look out.
Oh yeah, love it. You know, I noticed something that's similar for both of our stories. Is we also both moved from our like hometowns, like places where we got
Took me a while to do that, but I'm glad I did.
And do you think that helped with changing your identity too? Is moving to a new town starting fresh, starting in a new place. Cause like I moved completely to a new place as well. And I feel like
Yeah.
that
Well,
was a great process.
and for me, from where I was from, Victoria, for those who are from Australia, I've moved 2 states north of that. I've moved a 2-day drive away now. So that's it's about a 3 hour, 2.5 hour flight. It's a 2-day drive. That's how far away I've moved. It's like from one part of the country north to the next. And yeah, no one knows me up here. I'm not that fuckboy player. No one knows me as that. People up here know me as what I am now, as the podcast host and the author and the social media, talking about all my previous stuff. But it's a completely different thing. No one really knows that old life I had unless they watch my social media. But it's like they know me as this version that I am now, and it's been interesting just learning that now. Yeah, it's been pretty cool actually. It was the best thing I ever did was move out of where I was, because now I can step into who I'm supposed to be fully and authentically.
Yeah, I think it's pretty powerful. Yeah, I think it's definitely pretty powerful to move, for sure. And I was thinking like that was definitely part of what has helped me, change my identities for a lot of different things. And then also having a son, that was also a big one because I didn't mention this when I was telling you like something, but I thought of it while you were talking as well. Is like I think of what my son's gonna think of me. What kind of example I'm setting for my son. Do I want him to see me as someone who's just getting high every day, not taking life seriously?
Because then that cycle will repeat itself through him.
Exactly.
So then he'll do what you were doing. Yeah, love that, man. Powerful.
I mean, and we already noticed like he'll start to do things that we do. Like my wife sometimes sits up with like her leg, like up in the chair like this, and he's been trying to do that lately. And I was like, well, Oliver, you need to keep your foot down on the chair. Mama should be keeping her foot down too. And so she started to have her foot like flat on the when she's sitting, and he stopped doing that now too. Like it's crazy just how much they pick up on, especially when you start to become more aware of it. So it's something that we're constantly thinking about in this house is
that
what are
0 to
we
6,
setting?
7 age group.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I mean, their minds are on overdrive, right? And like just like you were talking about, it's handed down from generation to generation. These identities, like it makes me think of
it's in
like,
the genes, Tanner.
yeah.
It's not
Oh,
the
it's in your
fucking
genes. Yeah,
genes.
it's which is
Not in
bullshit.
the yeah.
And I mean now we know it's not your genes, it's the environment, it's the beliefs that were handed down to you. So I mean it makes sense that a lot of people whose parents are overweight, they become overweight too because they're eating the negative foods. They have the beliefs that hey, we're obese in this family, we're overweight in this family. Oh, we're just big boned or whatever. However you want to say it. But I mean, it's true. It really does have an effect on you. And that's like another one. Or, I'm shy. Like I know one for me, I just thought of another identity was I was always that shy kid at first before you met me. And I would tell myself that. And that did not help me with my public speaking. That did not help me with meeting new people. Right. And if I look back on that kid now, then look where I am now. It's night and day difference between hosting a podcast, interviewing people, talking with people, meeting new people all the time, coaching random people that I've barely met. So like it's quite amazing to see like the growth that has come from just changing my identities and addressing those things. And I think it's really powerful place to start if you want to make changes in your life. Maybe start to look at what identities you have for yourself, you know so
what are the stories that you're telling yourself too?
exactly what are the stories you're telling yourself? So how have you gone through to like identify your identities? Has there been like any special process you've been doing, or is it just like over time you started to notice, hey, that was my identity, this was my identity?
Pretty much that last bit what you said, I only just came to that discovery that that's what my old place where I live was deeming me as, and I sort of just lived that. So I sort of had another realization just a minute ago when I shared that before. But yeah, for me, it's just really going in deep and learning who I truly am at my soul core, whatever you want to call it. And it's back to that, yeah, I'm just a soul in a human vessel, having a human experience, wanting to learn things and feel things to then transition onto the next part of my journey. And that's all we are. We're nothing more than that. We're just souls having a human experience. And that is an awesome realization to come to, because then if you just go back to that, then all the pressures of the current society, everyone's under so much pressure at the moment, Tanner, given the way things are. Just remember that you're here as a human being or soul having a human experience. If you hindered this vessel for only, as they say, God knows how long, well, that's probably true. And when you cross over and transition into the next life, you're not going to be defined by how much shit you've accumulated. You're not going to be defined by all the cars and the houses you have. You're not going to be defined what was in your bank account. You're going to be defined by who you were as that human being. Were you kind or were you a prick? Were you nice or were you mean? Were you moral or were you immoral? Were you ethical or were you unethical? Did you take a stand and did you speak up when you had the chance to, or did you cower in the corner and let someone else do it? That's what you're defined as when your soul transitions. Doesn't matter how much shit you have. It's the kind of human that you were when you were here is what defines you. Did you lie? Did you cheat? Did you steal? Or were you honest, loyal, kind, loving, and caring, but also grateful and humble for the things that you've done? That's what you're defined as. You're not defined by, oh, you're this awesome teacher for 50 years. Wonderful, great. You're not defined by that. You're defined by, in those 50 years, how many students' lives did you change? How many students' lives did you mess up? That's what you're defined as. How many mean things did you say to those students in those 50 years that they carried around with them in their lives? That's what you're defined as when you transition from this place. Not, I have $400,000 in my bank account and then it's gone to my family. That's not what you're defined as. So we as a society need to start thinking about the people and the humans that we are. And if we're lying, cheating, and stealing, then karma, as they call it, you'll transition into the next life. You have to deal with that lying, cheating, and stealing. You don't escape that. You'll just transition and then you'll face it. I would suggest let's face it now, because we're going through that process. Mother Earth is shifting her darkness. Let's shift it with her and let's shift ours too. And part of that is lying, cheating, and stealing. And part of that is letting go of all these identities that crammed you and kept you inside this little box. Just imagine yourself in this box, confined as all these things, and then you just spring out and break free like a jack-in-the-box, like a butterfly coming out of the cocoon. Just imagine the possibilities, the endless amount of things that you can possibly attract in and be when you break free from that little cocoon that you've kept yourself in. Just be the butterfly. Just be the butterfly.
Yeah, I love it.
Imagine that. How cool would that be?
It's interesting. It's like going back to when we were kids, when we didn't have all this deep programming on us, And
yeah,
it's interesting just how much of these like really dictate our lives. And I love that what you were sharing about, just about like the box and how you break free from it. I think it's a really good visual for it. And it's, I mean, I definitely think things are changing within this world. And it's an exciting place to be, an exciting time to be alive. Sometimes it can be a little frustrating to see some of the stuff going on.
And all these things that are going on, like the hyperinflation and this cost of living crisis and all this bullshit that's going on. Just remember, we signed up to be here for this time. It's not stressful. It's just another lesson that we all have to learn. And if we believe and we know that we exist beyond this thing anyway, all of these things are just little hurdles and challenges along the way of the journey towards what's on the other side. Like, none of this stuff is happening by bad luck or by, well, it is actually, it's not actually, or what's going on here right now for the last however long is not happening by bad luck, and it's just the way it is. This is like a humanities lesson right now. We're all learning a lesson as one collective. Like, you either understand what's going on and start remembering who you are, or you walk the path of tech and you have them decide your thoughts and your things. That's all this thing is. It's just tracking your thoughts. So we have a decision to make. We walk the path of nature, walk the path of Mother Earth, or we walk the path of tech and AI. So if we walk the path of Mother Earth and nature, then we're going to let go of those labels that we put on ourselves, because they exist in a system that's crumbling. We're here to build another system, here to build a different system that's one of love and one of love and forgiveness and trust and honesty and morality and ethics, not the system that we have now that's inverted. So everyone needs to make their choice. Where's your line in the sand? Are you walking the path of Earth, or are you walking the path of tech and AI and have all these watches and these earbuds and phones thinking for you and all this stuff? Where's your line in the sand? Because the way things are going, this technological society is going to start ruling the world. And that's not what we're here for. We're here to rule our own worlds in our own lives, not be dictated and governed by a phone or by misleaders on your TV screen.
Great point. Yeah.
Where's your line in the sand?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good point that you're talking about, right? Like,
Yeah.
getting back into your own body and back into nature and start to think for yourself and stop letting other people and other things think for you. Because it's definitely, like, with AI, it's so easy to go down that path now, right? It's so easy to go down that path. And even with, like, the news and things like that and doctors, like, even without technology, it was easy to do that before. Just have someone tell you, oh, this is what's happening to you. Like, that's what the same thing with identities, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. And people think that what's currently happening in the world and what's happened in the last few years is just this. It's just bad luck, or it's just the way it is. It's not the way it is, and it's not bad luck. We all, as a collective, signed up many moons ago to be here for this time, the Great Awakening. Actually, it's the Great Quickening now, because people's journeys are being amplified and transformed in like months. That's taken people 15 to 20 years to get to where they are. Look at us, Tanner. To get to this spot would have taken people 10 years ago, 5 to 10 years to get to where we are. This happens so fast now. We're in a great quickening. Yeah. The awakenings, we're about to step into the next part of the awakening process, and more souls are going to come in and join us on our journey now. But it's like, well, this isn't happening by bad luck. We all signed up to be here for this time, and it's the greatest time to be here, right here, right now, because this whole realm's changing, and it's going to be a pretty awesome ride for the next 30 years to see where we end up. But it's just the end of this 25,000 year cycle, so it's pretty exciting. Yeah. You know. And it's like this system wants to keep you in this short-term thing of be worried now, cost of living, viruses, things in your arm, be scared, be worried. It's like, well, if you can see and change perspective and see beyond that there is a way out, then if you have that long-term vision and that long-term goal and those long-term aspirations, you will navigate your way through the world's challenges a lot better than if you're living in fear, scared of the sun, scared of all these things that they told you to be scared of. And they told you to have anxiety and to have all depression and all these labels. They told you that. They told you to feel this way. How do you feel? And what do you think? And where do you see this place going? Because none of this right now is happening by bad luck. This is our lesson to learn, and we're all here to learn it, and we're all here to remember who we are. And your definition will be different to mine, but I'm a sovereign soul having a human experience, and I'm here to learn and feel things. Who are you? beyond this thing here? I'm holding an iPhone if you're listening on Spotify and Apple. Who are you beyond this one thing that you are, or who are you beyond this? Because then you'll go back into your heart, you'll go back into your soul, and you'll go, yeah, shit. I am so much more than just this one thing, this one box that I'm in. And then look out. That butterfly, well, that caterpillar will turn into a butterfly.
Yep.
So where do you stand, Tanner? How do you see all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I actually completely agree with you. I think we are here for a specific reason. Makes me think of, I heard a story of like a father talking with his kid, and he said, "Oh, I'm so lucky to have you as a kid," and the kid said, "No, I chose you guys as parents." And
Yeah.
it's interesting to think like, did did we come here by just happenstance, or did we choose to come here?
We
And
chose.
it's just from a kid saying that, it makes you really think like, someone who's unadulterated, someone who has not been programmed, who's come here to this world just now with all the love and abundance, and who knows who they are until they've been programmed out of that. They said they chose to be here. So it makes me think every day, like, my son chose to be my son. Like, he chose to come live in this family. I chose to be here, to be part of my parents' family. And it's very interesting to think about it that way. And to then, it like changes the perspective on things for sure. Right. It's not like, oh, this is happening to me. No, I chose to experience this so I could grow, to become a better version of myself, to experience the good and the bad. Right.
Yep.
When I look back on some of the things that have gone through my life that may not have been ideal at the time, I do see like it has changed me, right? It has allowed me to see a different part of myself and experience something that I may not have never experienced. And so I'm very grateful for that, very grateful for this moment. And I think a lot of it has to do with, like you're talking about, there's been like an explosion of just people talking about this kind of information, people sharing this information, and it is spreading like rapidly, like you're talking about, and there's been very much like major progress going on, and it is amazing. Like, even just like with organic food or other things like
Yeah.
that, like the amount of organic food you can find now is like so much more than
Up
before,
here,
right?
yeah, up here is wild, mate. There's so
Yeah.
many markets. But it's interesting what you were saying too. I'm noticing a quickening in people's transformations.
Mhm.
Like, they're going through their rough, dark night of the soul period. But then, gee whiz, that stuff on the other side is just bang, 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 happening so fast.
Mhm.
I know mine was, and my brother's was quicker than mine. But even like clients that I've worked with, mate, they're transforming very, very quickly. And I'm talking spiritually here as well as physically, like transforming themselves physically. If you want to talk spiritually, this great quickening is unbelievable, man. Because I've said 3 things to a couple of clients, and my goodness, the things that they're seeing and hearing are out of this world. There is something special happening in this realm right now, and I'm very grateful to be part of it, and very grateful to have a hand in it, helping some of these young souls awaken to who they truly are and have their abilities come back online. It's pretty special, because there is a great quickening right now. People are transforming a lot faster. It's unbelievable. It really is.
Yeah, it is a beautiful time to be alive. Very grateful for it. And I think it is a great perspective to take in when you could get lost in all the fear mongering, and all the things that are happening right now, which may seem very drastic, which, I mean, let's be honest, some of them are, but we're here to experience that and to move the world into a better direction, for the future generations to come. So I think it is.
Just remember that they put the fear of death into you. They want you fearing death. They want you fearing leaving this place. Just remember, you exist beyond this place, and that we actually live forever. We're souls. We don't actually die. Our physical body dies, but we don't die. We just have inhibited this meat suit for however long we chose to inhibit it for, and then we transition and move on. Do not fall. And if you A lot of people fear death, Tanner, and that's sort of how they conned everyone over the last 3 years. Was they put the fear of death into people?
Yep. Very true.
You exist beyond this place that we call a realm. We exist beyond it. And if you can let go and move on from the fear of death and remember who you are as a soul, and then you start tapping into your blueprint, you start tapping into some different things to do with you, then you're not going to fear a lot of things, because you'll just know that that's not how you're going to die. Like, I can jump in the ocean, not be stupid, but I can jump in the ocean and be like, I'm not going to die in here today, because I'm here for a very long time. And if I'm supposed to die today, I will, but I know I'm not. So I'm going to jump in that ocean. I'm not going to jump off a tall building, but I'm not going to do anything stupid. But it's like, well, I'm not dying today. I'm here for a long time. So that's sort of, people fear a lot of things. They fear heights and they fear da-da-da-da. You don't fear these things.
It's interesting.
And get out of your comfort zone. If you're stuck where you are right now in a town where I was from, get the fuck out of there and just be. Get out of your comfort zone. Let's all start doing things that we never used to do. Tony, yes, it is interesting. I jump in the ocean every day knowing that I'm not going to die today. Sophie and I got caught in a rip one day. She was sort of a bit panicky. I was like, if you panic, you will drown. Do not panic. Let the ocean guide you back to land. Guess what it did, Tanner? I just floated and let the ocean going back to land, because I wasn't dying that day. I knew. I was like, I'm not dying in this rip. Not dying. Guess what it did? It took me out, around, and then I went over beyond the other side of the rocks and just walked on the footpath back down the shore. Like, it took me to the other part of the beach, way down, and we just let it take us, got on the sand, then walked the footpath back down to where our stuff was. It's like, I just enjoyed the ride. The ocean was guiding me back home to the land.
Yep.
Soon as we get in these things, we start fearing, we start panicking, that's when shit starts happening. It's like, well, just let the ocean guide you. I know you're not supposed to know how you die, but I've got a fair idea how I'm dying, and wasn't in a rip that day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What I was, and I love that story. It's really interesting how you just trusted, the universe, trusted life, that things were going to go well, and they did.
Yeah.
It's what I was going to say is it's interesting, because when we fear death or fear all these things, it's actually, in sense, fearing life. We're afraid to live and experience these things, right? We're afraid to breathe the air, because we've been conned that the air is dangerous now. We're afraid to go out into the sun, because we've found that, oh, the sun's going to burn us, right? We're afraid of all these things, when really that's actually life. That's energy. We can go out in the ocean and experience that abundance, but there's so much fear around it that, like, a
shark's going to eat me. That's the
exactly.
Aussie fear. Shark's going to eat me. I'm like, well, a shark's not going to eat you today, because it's just not how you're going to die. But okay, fear the shark then. But yeah, interesting.
It's no doubt that there's not surprising that they're pushing so much fear on us right now, because they're trying to keep people out of that conscious part of your mind, that part of your mind where you're just enjoying life and living life to the fullest. They're
trying to keep people. They
right.
want you in that box. They want you in that cocoon, and they never want you breaking free. They never want you spreading your wings.
Yep.
Because if the collective broke free from the societal bullshit and the programming and spread their wings, then what we have here can no longer exist here. Like, this system is no longer, once we break free from that.
I mean, it's already crumbling. You can see it. Like, just all
imagine
the stuff
this.
That's happening.
Exactly. Just imagine, Tanner, if everyone stopped going to work. Like, everyone just stopped and said, no more of this shit. There's 6 billion of us and about 10,000 of them. What if we all just stopped? We went, you know what, collectively? Fuck this. I stop. What are they going to do? What are those 10,000 ruling elite? What are they going to do? Their power's gone.
Yeah.
It's like people are so scared. They're like, oh, I'll lose my house. I'll lose my job. Oh. No, you won't. If we all collectively did it, no one's losing a damn thing. We're just going to build something better. Just
Yep.
imagine that, Tanner. Just ponder that. If everyone's listening now, ponder the fact that we have so much power that if we all just said, you know what? I'm not paying my tax. I'm not paying these bills. I'm not paying for this shit anymore. I'm not going to work today. What if we all just went, you know what? You 10,000 ruling elite, fuck yes. We're not doing it. Just imagine if we all just went, nah, we're done. How cool would that be? Imagine what we could build from there.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if like every house had a community garden or a garden, right? We start growing our own food.
Yep.
You don't need mass producing anymore.
And then
you know?
we could still do our thing. Money's not really an issue anymore. So you start exchanging barter. So it's like, well, my garden's got potatoes, apples, and berries. Mine might have beans, lettuce, and other leafy greens. Well, let's exchange. Let's have a like little community market. Then it's like, well, Joe down the road's having a rough time. Or might do some energy healing on him, or might do a self-sabotage coach session. He might have a microphone that he doesn't use anymore, and it's brand new and it's whiz bang. It's like, well, Nath, I'll give you that, and you can come and do you. It's like we can exchange barter now. If we imagine a world without money, because that's the one thing people are governed and controlled by is money. If we didn't have money, Tanner, it'd be interesting what sort of world we'd be in.
That'd be very interesting. I think
people are very really attached, cool. Very attached to their money, very attached to the shiny shit that they have. Imagine we all just let go of that and said no more.
Yeah, I think it'd be a really cool experience to like live in like actual like community that has like a community garden that has community animals that shares those sort of things.
And people exchange energy and they exchange barter.
Yep, exactly.
I'll give you something for your coaching. So they might give me, a box of meat or fruit or something. You'd be like, that's exchange for, imagine if it wasn't monetary all the time.
I mean, it can be. I mean, that could start right now. They can't stop that.
They can, right? Yeah, I know, exactly. And people are doing it. I'm just saying, just imagine if all 6 billion of us just stopped for like an extended period of time. We all just went on strike and stopped. The ruling elite wouldn't be able to do anything anymore. That whole system crumbles because we all stopped. Just imagine if we did that.
So to stop that, though, for a lot of the people who are still stuck in that box, they would have to shed those identities, and they would have to come to a bigger realization that they don't want to be a part of the system anymore. I think that's a very big realization that people come to have. I feel like that's an identity in itself, that I'm part of this system, right? That like this is the system that I live in, where I feel like a lot of people that like you and me and like other people I talk to who are down this path are like, no, I don't want to be like, I'm not part of the system at all. I don't want to be part of the system. I'm breaking free from the system. I'm getting out of the system. And I think that is interesting thought process. Like it is really like a system of control, right? It's the matrix essentially, right? It's
just imagine, the last 3 years. What if everyone just said, you know what, I'm not wearing the face diaper. I'm not taking the experimental prick in my right arm. Imagine if people just said no.
We saw some. I was one of them.
Yeah, but imagine if, same here. But imagine if 6 billion of us all said no. I don't know. I just ponder these things. Yeah. Do you know also I ponder and Max Egan. Do you know Max Egan?
Yeah.
He's an Aussie. I think he's in Mexico. I used to watch his stuff a bit during my process of the world truths. I don't watch him as much anymore, but I found it funny and humorous though. But he also said some really awesome things. So he said these 2 things and they stuck with me. Face infinity without flinching. How powerful is that line? Face infinity without flinching. What does that mean? Just whatever you have to face, don't flinch and face it. Second thing is more of a little funny thing. Is like, just imagine if we like, we all came here for freedom, right? And our movement's all about freedom, which we are. But I love the way he puts it. He's like, just let's all stop fighting over what this place is. Let's stop fighting over veganism and meat. stop fighting over all this shit, and let's just all come together for freedom. Let's establish that first, and then we'll argue about what this is and different things. Let's all just find common ground because they want us all fighting. They even want our movement fighting. They want everyone else fighting. They want the terror and they want the fighting and the arguing and that. When we all just come together for freedom, put all our tools down, our chips down, let's just come together for freedom. Let's establish freedom. Then we'll work out the rest. That's an awesome thing he says. And another thing he says too, with those ruling elite, he's like, just imagine if we all built them. We all gave them an island somewhere, right? Gave them Epstein Island or one of these islands, and they could have their wars and they can have their fake viruses and they can have their fake shit, and then they can all try and kill each other like the psychopaths that they are. We'll just give them some hammers, give them a couple of guns, and they can go away and have their wars and they can go away and kill each other. We can all live the life we're supposed to live. That would be pretty cool. Give them their island. They can have their wars, their fake wars. They can have their fake viruses. They can all try and kill each other like the psychopaths that they are. They can go over there. We'll just live our free life the way we're supposed to be lived. I'm like, yeah, imagine that. We just give them their little island. They can have their fakeness, and then we can have our sovereignty back.
That's interesting.
How cool would that be? Just give them a bag of hammers, Tanner. Give the psychopaths ruling elite a bag of hammers and an island and let them fight for it.
I was just thinking about while you were talking about that. There was a lot of different labels that came to my mind. The psychopaths, ruling elites, and then even just like when you're talking about like how they divide us, the whites and the blacks. There is vegan meat eaters, right? There is just like the woke, the unawoke. There's so many
drinkers, non-drinkers,
smokers, non-smokers,
spiritual, religious. Like there's so many, man.
Yeah, and like that's another thing.
Oh, do you believe in God? No, the atheists and see all those labels we've just come up with. Oh my goodness, so many.
Interesting, for sure.
Imagine
a world without labels.
Yeah, we just put the tools down, put the labels down, and just start living again.
Hey, that's a person. They're not this label or that label. This is just another human being.
Yep. It's pretty powerful, Tanner.
Yeah. It's been a good talk for sure.
Has been. I think we could probably, if there's one thing someone can take away in this podcast, Tanner, what would it be?
I would say that, you can't control what other people label you as or, how other people label themselves. All you can control is what's happening within you. 100%. And a great place to start would just be to start to become more aware of possible labels that you've labeled yourself or other people have labeled you as, and see how that's affecting your life. Because that just being more consciously aware of your life in general can be a great place to end self-sabotage, to just create a better life for yourself overall, and to start moving towards the life that you do want. And I'm a firm believer that we all want a life where we are abundant, we are loving, it's peaceful, we are all those things, but some of us have been programmed very deeply. And if you want to break free from that programming, it's never too late. There's always a path forward. And me and Nathan are both here to help. If you guys want to speak to us, we'd love to help guide you guys towards that path. What, you got anything to
100%.
say, Nathan?
Yeah, I'll just go back to that analogy I used before. And it's pretty much what you said too. Don't allow someone else to tell you who and what you are. Only you know who and what you are. And if you've been listening and been watching, grab a piece of paper and just write, I am, whatever your name is, I am, and see what comes up. And then if you give yourself the label of like, I did with myself, self-sabotage coach, podcast host, go deeper. And then go deeper, and then go deeper, and then you'll get to your heart, you'll get to your soul, and you'll go, okay, that's who I am. Once you remember who you are, that's when everything changes. And then you won't confine yourself to this little box or this little cocoon. You'll be able to break free from that cocoon into a butterfly, and you can just be. and you'll be amazing and wonderful, and you'll be who you're supposed to be.
I love it.
And you'll also take your power back, Tanner, which is also very powerful too, because you won't be asking or outsourcing all these things to have these labels, because you'll know at your heart who you are and who you define yourself as, and you won't need those things that you used to be doing anymore.
I completely agree with that. I love it. And, that's a great piece of advice to share. Just, going back to yourself and just, loving yourself.
And if you don't like writing, I'll just say this kind of then. If you don't like writing, well, look yourself in the mirror, right up in there. Look at in the depths of the windows of your soul and say, I am. And then you'll be surprised at what comes out of your mouth at that stage. But then go deeper.
Yeah, mirror work is powerful for sure. So, very powerful stuff. Yep. Great advice, Nathan. I love it. Always grateful to have you on the podcast. I feel
You too, mate.
like we talked about like at the beginning of the podcast. It's just we always touch on things that are within our lives, and we always come up with these ideas just based off what we've gone through. And so if anyone else has gone through these things or is resonating with this, please do reach out. We're both here for you, and know that you're not alone. There is a path forward. There is a way to move forward and past these labels and to just create a better life for yourselves. Make sure to shoot us a follow, like this video, give us a comment if you guys are interested.
Subscribe.
Subscribe.
Give us a 5-star review, Tanner.
Yeah, 5 out of 5, please. Yeah, and then just follow us for more content. We're always sharing some great talks. We had a really good one with Nakula Das about semen retention not long ago, and me and Nathan also talked about one with school and the effect of school on us, and he shared that.
We had Jason on too a few months ago. We had Jason Christoph on.
We have some other new ones in the works coming up, so we're excited for it. And yeah, keep on watching. Thank you guys for all the support, and I hope you guys all have a good rest of your night.
Yep. Catch ya.